Hi everyone, today I'm going to share the inspiring story of Kane, a 12-year-old dog whose life was marked by neglect and hardship. Kane, blind and diabetic, had spent months suffering from untreated illness and pain, but little did she know, her journey was about to take a turn for the better. Stay with us in Pets in Love as we walk you through the remarkable journey of Kane. Kane's story is one of deep compassion, resilience, and unwavering love. She came into the world with the odds stacked against her, and yet she showed a quiet strength and determination that could not be easily ignored. At 12 years old, Kane was a seasoned veteran of life's hardships, having weathered far more than most dogs her age. But her most heart-wrenching battle came from a silent internal enemy: diabetes. When Kane's family first encountered the challenges of her health, they were unprepared and unwilling to offer the care she needed. Her diabetes, left unchecked and untreated, ravaged her body over time. They didn't have the financial means to provide her insulin, the lifeline that could have saved her from the worst effects of the disease. So, they let her suffer. They let her fade into a world of unbearable pain and slowly descending darkness, until one day, Kane lost her sight entirely. Her world, once vivid and filled with light, became a place of silence and shadows. She couldn't see the faces of those who would have loved her, couldn't chase after toys or run to greet the people she once adored. But Kane didn't give up. She lived on, despite the odds, despite the pain, despite the neglect. The rescue team from AUCMA had been alerted about her situation, and it was clear that Kane's life was on the brink of collapse. She had either managed to escape from her harsh confines or had been abandoned, and no one knew for certain. But one thing was clear: her days of suffering were over. The team decided, despite her age and frail condition, that they would not return her to her past life. The future, though uncertain, would be better than the painful life she had endured. When Kane arrived in the care of the rescue team, it was clear how much time had taken its toll on her. Physically, she was in dire straits, blind, old, and frail. She had spent years in isolation, and the years had left psychological scars. She was frightened and withdrawn, yet still clinging to the hope that perhaps life could get better. The team, though, had made a promise. She was now part of their family, and they would do whatever it took to make her well again. Kane's initial condition was grave. Her blood sugar levels were dangerously high, 3 times the normal level. The team could hardly believe how long she had managed to survive with untreated diabetes, and it became apparent that had they not acted when they did, they would have lost her. Hospitalization was necessary. The team couldn't let her slip away so soon. They kept her in the clinic, fighting to stabilize her with insulin and medication. As the days passed, the team faced an emotional struggle. Kane was not responding to the medication as they had hoped, and her blood sugar levels remained high, hovering over 600 when they should have been closer to 300. The possibility of losing her loomed large, and the team felt the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. But they didn't give up. They continued to adjust her care, feeding her smaller meals, learning more about diabetes and her unique needs. It was a delicate balancing act: how to manage her constant hunger without overwhelming her body. Her progress, though slow, was steady. Her insatiable thirst began to subside, and her constant urination became more controlled. Slowly, the spark of her personality began to emerge. Kane was no longer the frightened, withdrawn dog that had arrived at the rescue. She was showing affection, wagging her tail at the sight of her caregivers, and even learning to sleep through the night. It was as though the love and care she had been denied for so long were starting to heal her, piece by piece. One of the first moments of pure joy came when Kane, after adjusting to her new routine, discovered the simple pleasure of a soft bed. The bed she slept on was far from the cold, hard ground she'd endured for years, and it quickly became her sanctuary. When Kane first laid down on it, her body, though old and fragile, seemed to relax as if she were sinking into a dream she had never dared to imagine. She stretched out, curling up in a ball, and for the first time in so many years, she slept soundly through the night. No more cold floors, no more loneliness, just comfort and peace. In the morning, Kane would slowly wake up, her tail wagging even before she opened her eyes. She was blind, yes, but it didn't seem to matter. She had learned to navigate her world with the help of her senses, her ears, her nose, and the gentle hands of her caregivers. It was heartwarming to watch her inch her way to the food bowl, guided by the sound of footsteps or the smell of her favorite meals being prepared. Kane's newfound happiness extended beyond her bed and meals, though. Every time she was gently groomed or cuddled, her eyes softened, and her body relaxed in a way that spoke volumes. But then came the next heartbreaking news. Kane was suffering from glaucoma, a condition that caused intense pain and migraines as a result of severe ocular hypertension. The ophthalmologist explained that the damage caused by diabetes to her eyes was irreversible, and without intervention, Kane would continue to suffer. Surgery was necessary. Both of her eyes needed to be removed in order to alleviate the pressure and the excruciating pain. The decision to go ahead with the surgery was a difficult one, but it was also a loving decision. The team at AUCMA, along with the kind-hearted people who had already become Kane's supporters, knew that this was the only way to help her, and they were willing to do whatever it took. Despite the uncertainty and the financial burden, the rescue team committed to Kane's care, determined to give her a life filled with love, safety, and comfort. The surgery to remove her eyes was a pivotal moment in Kane's journey. Though it was heart-wrenching to know that she would lose the last remnants of her vision, it was also a step toward easing her pain. After the surgery, Kane began to adjust to her new reality. She learned to navigate her world by scent, by sound, and by the love and patience of the people who cared for her. And of course, there were the walks in the field, her favorite moments. Kane, despite her blindness, reveled in the simple pleasures of life. She would walk slowly, her tail swishing back and forth, wagging at every new scent she encountered. The sound of birds in the distance, the feel of soft grass beneath her paws, it all filled her with a sense of calm and contentment. She was no longer the dog bound by chains, confined to a corner of the world. She was free to explore, free to be happy, free to simply exist. And in those peaceful walks, she had found a new form of happiness. The rescue team continued to monitor Kane's health closely, checking her blood sugar regularly and adjusting her insulin. They kept her as comfortable as possible, knowing that each day with Kane was a gift. And though the costs were high, they did what they had to do. Kane had found a family, one that was willing to fight for her, to care for her, and to love her, no matter what. For Kane, the future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. She would never be abandoned again. She had found her place in the world, a place filled with love, warmth, and care. And for the woman who had taken Kane in, there was no greater gift than knowing that she had given Kane a chance to live the rest of her life in peace, comfort, and unconditional love. That's the end of the story today. What part of her journey touched you the most? And if you've ever been inspired by a rescue story like hers, we'd love for you to share it with us in the comments. Thank you for being part of this journey. If you find our video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Finally, don't forget to turn on our bell and subscribe to our channel Pets in Love so you don't miss any of our new videos. Thank you for your support. Wishing you all peace, happiness. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.